Hello there, I'm Jimmy Vegas, and today I want to talk about a huge mistake Sony made. Now, Sony have made loads of mistakes over the course of their 30 years in the industry of video games, and it's no surprise to a lot of people that the PS3 is one of those biggest mistakes. And the mistake we're going to talk about today is involved with the PS3, but it's not exactly the PS3 itself. Let me show you this. What if I told you this is Sony's biggest mistake? What would you say? You'd say, what the hell are you on about, Jimmy? How is Grand Theft Auto 4 the biggest mistake Sony has made? Well, it's not specifically Grand Theft Auto 4. This could be said for things like Fallout 3. It could be said for Little Big Planet. It's not the game itself. It's not the console itself. It's the spine. Now, if you've seen a lot of my videos in the past, especially when it comes to PS3 game collecting, you'll know that I am not a massive fan of that at all. That little red thing there that's got PS3 and this down the spine. Now, you're thinking, okay, well, that seems a bit petty to say that that's a big mistake. Well, in actual fact, it is a big mistake. And the reason I'm going to tell you it's a mistake is because Sony have inadvertently admitted it themselves. And how have they admitted it themselves? They've never said that they've changed it. They said the rebranding, to better reflect blah, 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 blah. Well, okay, fair enough. I'm going to pull out a couple more games now. I've got this, Tony Hawk's 2, right, on the PlayStation. And you can see the spine. They're all the same, the spine's roughly. There's a couple of different variations. Like I believe the Crash Bandicoot one is a double one. When it comes to something like Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9, they're the double big box things, and they are a little bit different. But generally, you'll find most PlayStation games come like this, with that spine, especially the black ones. And I think pretty much all the Platinums do, apart from things like Final Fantasy again. Obviously, they're silver. Now, when it comes to PlayStation 2, time splitters, you'll see, in this case, it's like that. I know the American variation is maybe slightly different, but generally what you've got to look at is the fact it says PlayStation 2, then the game. Okay, we'll skip that red top PS3 game, and we'll go to this PS3 game. You've got PS3 and the game name. Yeah, see where I'm going with this? PS4, game name. And obviously, a lot of people are familiar with how PS5 is because they know it's very, very similar to PS4. You've got the PS5 game name. What if I told you they are all the same apart from PS3 red top? Yes. Okay, so look, I'm going to put a quick video on screen now so I don't have to kind of illustrate this, pointing, doing all this, aligning them. But you can basically see that they are all the same, give or take. With the PS1, maybe it is a bit different. Maybe that's because at that point the brand was new, and by the time we got to the PS2, they knew that they wanted to create a brand. So if I put, like I said, like you've just seen in the video, if I take 2, 3, and 4, you can see that generally, hopefully you can see it there, spines obviously all along top, and it's literally the same level all the way across for 2, 3, 4, 5, and it will no doubt be the same for 6. Why is this? Well, humans in general like to see not chaos, right? So some humans do like to see chaos, hence that's why they do the things they do. I mean, I just have to look around me and see chaos all over the world. But in terms of, for example, like me, collectors, I like to have things in order. I like to have things organized neatly. What really, really irritates me, and you can probably see it now, is a couple of these like that. They've got the red tops and they irritate the hell out of me. And it's not just me. They irritate the hell out of a lot of people who like to have their games in order. And this is where it comes in, the fact that we can tell Sony actually acknowledged this mistake, not by saying anything, but by doing something. And that is the reason why every PlayStation since has been the same, having this top section, no matter the size of the box, it is the same here. You're naturally going to get some differences here and there, obviously, because box sizes are different. I mean, if you look at here, obviously, this one here, that doesn't match. There's a couple like that Dustborn one. That's slightly different, but the game itself, inside the actual official packaging for it, for the game, is going to match that style. Now, why did Sony acknowledge this as a mistake? Well, honestly, it's hard to tell. I think ultimately Sony wanted to rebrand the PlayStation 3 and kind of move forward with a different view of it because it was falling behind the Xbox 360. And we all know how that ended right at the end of the generation with PS3 finally overtaking 360 as the better selling console. Not the best selling console, that was the Wii, but out of the two big ones that we'll say, it was indeed Sony that managed to sell more PS3s than 360s, despite the fact everyone had to buy multiple 360s because of the Red Ring of Death. Moving on, moving backwards, I should say, to something like the old PS1 games. This, I think, is where the outlier begins, and this isn't the mistake. So, obviously, this was brand new to the market. Sony didn't know what they were doing. You look at likes of Nintendo, they were already well established. Likes of Sega, they were well established. If you look at the Master System and the Genesis or Mega Drive, whatever you want to call it, depending on what region you're from, those boxes kind of matched. But then Sega just went, oh, God knows what they did, and just had the Sega Saturn massive boxes. That was stupid. And then they had the different cases in different regions for Dreamcast. And honestly, I'm not saying that's the reason the Dreamcast failed. But a lot of people were annoyed by that because there are so many people like me who collect games from multiple generations. I've got PS1, PS2, PS3, PS4, PS5, PS Vita games, and Vita is the outlier, the same with the PSP. That they're a bit weird, but that's beside the point. The main consoles are what we're talking about here. And like I say, I've got all these PS3. I've got PS3 and PS4 down there that you can't see, below the camera line. And obviously I've got PS5, and then I've got some other Xbox stuff down there and whatever else. But I like to keep mine all neat and tidy. Is it OCD? I guess it might be. But there are so many people like me. And that really, really bothered me. And I don't think it's necessarily Sony saying, right, well, that bothered people, so let's change it. Let's do all this changing. I don't think it was that in the end. It was generally down to a rebrand. I mean, it's the Spider-Man font, for goodness sake. I don't know, Sony. I don't know. What did you really think was going to happen when you branded it like this? So that rebrand from Sony to the black label at the top to suit the PS2, PS3, PS4, PS5, all that together, is that what ultimately made the PS3 succeed? I think so, to a degree. Yes, I do think that rebrand, the PS3 Slim, and maybe not necessarily the Super Slim, but I think all of that contributed to making Sony successfully sell the PS3 more than the 360. It had to have had an impact. So that's easily a way of Sony saying, well, those red tops, yep, they were a mistake. Why didn't they add trophy support to some of these games, but did to others? Like Oblivion never got trophy support on PS3, but Grand Theft Auto 4 did. Fallout 3 did. Where was the logic there? So Sony still made mistakes in that sense, but ultimately, overall, I'd say the rebrand is what really, really helped them sell that PS3, and, good on Sony for that. Let me know what you think, though, in the comments, whether you are not too bothered by the fact it's red label and black label on PS3. Let me know if you're a fan of those blue label PS3 games. I don't have one. I'll probably get some one day, because I'm collecting for it. But again, was that a mistake by Sony? I don't really know, because they were trying to integrate the whole PS4 into the whole ecosystem at that point. So I guess it kind of was a mistake, but they quickly acknowledged that. Well, quicker than they acknowledged the red tops anyway, so fine, whatever. But let me know what you think about all of this. Do you think that rebrand really contributed to the success of the PS3? Do you think it was a mistake that they put the red tops there to begin with? Should they have gone with the black labels? Should they have done that? Let me know your thoughts, your comments all below. And there will be some videos around me now, if you wouldn't mind clicking some of those, maybe watching another video. There's some really good ones, honestly there is. There's also a little subscribe button just down below if you fancy clicking that and seeing more content just like this. And hopefully I will see you in one of my next videos. But until then, thank you very much for watching and take care.